What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe, and this is episode 5 of Saturday Morning, and this is just a little segment on my channel where I like to sit here and talk about all the cool stuff that happened in the week before in the world of comic books, movies, and action figures. And unfortunately, there wasn't too much to talk about in action figures because there wasn't any new reveals or anything that I saw this week that I was excited about. So if there was something that I missed this week, leave it in the comments and let me know about any cool toy news that you saw this week that's exciting. I just didn't really see anything. But there were some cool things in the world of movies. Now, if you follow my channel or my Instagram, you know that I'm a big Disney fan, and this week Disney dropped 2 pretty cool trailers, and the first one was the Mary Poppins trailer. I'm a big Mary Poppins fan. It's probably one of my favorite Disney movies, and I was kind of on the fence about the new Mary Poppins Returns until they cast Emily Blunt. I thought that was perfect, and that kind of got me on board. And then when the trailer came out, I was really excited. I thought it was really cool. I like the way that it starts off kind of dark and like gloomy and depressing, and then when she finally pops up, it kind of lightens up and the mood kind of gets a little more, it adds a little more levity, and it's kind of just more like positive, and you know, that pretty much sums up Mary Poppins. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, I was really excited about the trailer. I think it looks really good. And the next trailer that I saw that I was really excited about was the Christopher Robin trailer. And I didn't really hear too much about this movie before, but it looks like it's going to be Christopher Robin when he's grown up and he's kind of become like distant from like the cool kid that he was, and now he's like this grown up like business guy, and he has to make crazy sacrifices at work that he's unhappy with, and he's just generally unhappy. And it kind of felt the same, the trailer kind of felt the same way, where it kind of starts off kind of depressing and then it kind of gets more like you know, positive when the main character kind of pops up, which is Winnie the Pooh. And Winnie the Pooh looks pretty cool. It looks like they're taking like the type of like the TED technology approach rather than just like animated, you know. So it does look pretty cool, and I am excited about that. And I am excited about both of those movies, and I do hope that they come out good. For the Disney live action stuff, it's been kind of hit and miss for me. Like, I really didn't like the Beauty and the Beast. Cinderella was okay, but Jungle Book was awesome. So we'll see. Hopefully the other ones coming out soon are good. But the thing I want to talk about, which really isn't fun to talk about at all, but it seems like there's like a lot more rumors coming out that ToysRus is going to be closing all their stores, and I heard that they're going to make some kind of announcement Monday, and it's possibly going to be that they're closing all their stores rather than most of their stores like we heard a few weeks ago. And I mean, that sucks. To be honest, for me, it doesn't really affect me too much because I buy most of my toys online or from independent sellers or from you know, conventions and things like that. So I mean, it doesn't really affect me too much. I do go to ToysRus sometimes, and there's some pretty cool ToysRus exclusives and all that cool stuff. But I think where the thing that it affects, and it really sucks for these people, is, you know, for kids, you know, it's awesome to go to ToysRus, take your kids to ToysRus like as a treat, and you know, just go through. It's like magical almost, right? Like, you go to ToysRus as a little kid and it's fun to go in there, look at all the cool toys, and maybe pick some cool stuff up. And I feel like without ToysRus, there really isn't a place like that to take kids anymore. I mean, you could take them to the toy section at Walmart and Target, and that's fine or whatever, but you know, it's not like ToysRus. It's not like a big cool event. Possibly, like, you know, your kids do something good, get good grades, you take them to ToysRus and you buy some cool toys. You know, that's not gonna be as fun. Like, let's go to Target and go to the toys, you know what I mean? It's not the same. So that, you know, it affects them, and that kind of sucks. And then, you know, people lose their jobs and stuff like that. That's whack, you know. So hopefully those rumors aren't true, and you know, a couple ToysRus stores stick around like they had planned. In my area, there's about 3 ToysRuses that I kind of go to frequently, and only one of them was gonna close, so I was fine with that. But now it sounds like the other 2 are gonna close, but we'll see. Hopefully that's not true. The upside of that is hopefully there'll be a bunch of cool sales, and you could go out there and get, you know, a bunch of Marvel Legends for half off or 10% off or for like $1 or whatever it is. But we'll see. But hopefully that's not the case. But yeah, just that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. The comic books, a few weeks ago I talked about Marvel doing like a reset or a renumbering or whatever of their books, of like their whole brand, and they do that every couple years. For me, I kind of lost touch with it all around the time of the Heroic Age. I believe that was right after the Siege, which I enjoyed, and then everything before the Siege was really cool, like the Dark Avengers and the Dark Reign and all that stuff. I liked a lot of that stuff. There was a lot of good books going on in there. But after the Heroic Age, I kind of just lost touch with it, and there was still a bunch of cool books, you know, coming out. I was buying some, but I wasn't following like everything. Before that point, I was trying to get everything, all the different crossovers, but it just got too expensive and too crazy to follow. And then as like time went on, they did like other things, like I think it was the all new Marvel, or the the all new, all different Marvel. There was like every couple years there was something and it was all changing. And now they're doing it again, and it's like the fresh start Marvel or something. It's called something like that. And I kind of wanted to ignore it, you know, but there was some really cool books announced. So I think I'm going to be down for at least a couple of these. And I just wanted to talk about them real quick. First off, there's going to be a new Hulk book. And the Hulk book looks awesome, and it looks like they're gonna go with like a horror kind of vibe with it, and I'm down with that because I've always thought of Hulk. I mean, Hulk originally was supposed to be like a Frankenstein type of character, I believe, and I always wish that there was more books focusing on that, and I think it looks pretty cool. And the Hulk book is going to be written by Al Ewing. I'll be honest, I'm not very familiar with this writer. Hopefully he's dope. I'm sure he is if he's on these Marvel books, but yeah, I'm not familiar with them. And it does have a really cool Alex Ross cover, so that looks cool. And yeah, I'm excited about that. Mainly the idea of a Hulk horror book. Sounds really cool to me, so once I heard that, I was down. And then another book I'm excited about is Doctor Strange by Mark Waid. Mark Waid is a legend. He's done a bunch of cool books. Obviously, he did Kingdom Come, and he had an awesome run on Daredevil, which I loved, which was like a few years ago. And then he had a really good run on Black Widow that a lot of people like. I haven't read it, but I heard a lot of good things. So he's been around for a while, and he, you know, like I said, he's a legend. And I'm really interested to see what he does with Doctor Strange. I think that's going to be an awesome book. About is the Captain America book, and the description kind of sounds like typical Cap stuff, you know, government this, whatever, secret spy, whatever, but it sounds cool, you know. I'm down for it. It has a cool Alex Ross cover, and it's going to be written by Ta-Nehisi Coates. He did a couple Black Panther books, and he's also known for a lot of stuff outside of comic books. Like he's an author and, you know, like activist and things like that. So that's really interesting that he does comic books. So I'm excited to see what he does with Captain America. And one of the books that they announced that probably tipped the scale for me and really made me want to look into all this fresh new stuff and see how it's all going to go was the Sentry book. And I'm not a huge fan of Sentry or anything, but I'm a big fan of the writer, and the writer is going to be Jeff Lemire. If you haven't checked out any of Jeff Lemire's stuff, he's awesome. One of my favorite books by him is The Descender from Image. That's a really cool book. It's beautiful with some crazy looking artwork. I can't remember the artist's name right now. I apologize for that, but he's awesome. That book just in general is awesome. So if you haven't checked out The Descender, I strongly suggest you do. And he also did Moon Knight a few years ago for Marvel, and his Moon Knight was awesome. It really played into like the insanity of Moon Knight, and I think that could be applied really good to Sentry. If you haven't read Sentry or The Sentry by Jay Lee and or Ja Lee, I don't know how to say his name, and Paul Jenkins, you should check that out because that really is a dark, really crazy look at the Sentry. That's kind of, I think that's where he was introduced, and it's really cool. But I can't wait to read the Jeff Lemire Sentry. It's gonna be, I hope it's really dark and twisted and weird. That's a character you could really get into, like into his brain and make crazy stuff going on, like with the Void. His main villain was the Void, which was like part of him or whatever, and I think Jeff Lemire could go crazy with that. So I really can't wait for that. And then another book that's pretty exciting is the Avengers book, and it looks like it's gonna be like some of the most popular Avengers and stuff like that. So that's cool, and it's going to be written by Jason Aaron, and Jason Aaron is awesome. Jason Aaron books by him are the Thor run. He did really good on, I haven't read all of his Thor stuff, but from what I did read, I read the beginning when he first started on Thor, and I really liked it. Like I said, I just didn't follow, I just didn't keep with all the Marvel stuff, but a lot of people like the current Jason Aaron runs on the different Thor books, so I think that he'll do a really good job on the Avengers book. He's also doing the new Thor book, but I'm probably going to pass on that. But I don't want to go crazy. I just want to pick up a few titles. But yeah, that's some pretty cool stuff in the world of Marvel. So I'm really excited about that stuff. So hopefully we get some brand new classics from some of these writers and from Marvel and stuff. So very cool stuff. And this week's Figure of the Week spotlight is going to go to the Mezco Hellboy figure. And this figure is awesome. It's from 2004, so it's kind of old, but it does still hold up. And this, before the 112 Collective, this is pretty much the only thing that I knew Mezco for was the Hellboy figures. And they did some awesome stuff. I don't have too many of them. I've had a couple over the years. I do wish to pick up a few more. But yeah, they're awesome. Check out the level of detail. And they did a really good job on the movie figures and as well as the comic book figures. But yeah, for this figure itself, there's a lot of cool detail. There's some cool accessories that came with him, which I don't have. I only have his gun at this point, but the gun is awesome. There's some good details on him. But yeah, this figure's from 2003, and I mean, it's dated or anything, and it just in general looks like an awesome looking figure. They put a bunch of crazy details everywhere. There's nice sculpt work. There's really awesome paint details and sculpt work on his arm and on his face. Some of the paint on mine has started to come off, but you know, it's 14 years old, so what are you gonna do? And also the jacket has kind of ripped, you know, so that kind of stuff's bound to happen. But yeah, it's an awesome figure, and like I said, it's 14 years old. I still like it a lot. Actually, I didn't buy this figure too long ago because for some reason I was like on a Hellboy kick and wanted to buy some Hellboy figures, and still do actually. But I found this at a convention a couple years ago, and I picked it up, and I was like impressed on like how much I liked it. Considering how old it was, you know, there's a bunch of old figures that are still awesome, but some of them look dated, especially like in Marvel Legends. There's a lot of great ones, but I feel like a lot of them haven't, you know, stood the test of time from the Toy Biz days. But yeah, this one, that's not the case with Hellboy here. This figure looks awesome, and it's just impressive today as it would have been, you know, 10 years ago, 14 years ago. So yeah, that's it. This is the action figure of the week, Hellboy from the movie by Mezco. So I think that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I really appreciate all the feedback on these videos. They're not getting as many views as I'd hope, but I'm getting a lot of cool feedback. A lot of people hitting me up saying that they like these videos, so I'm going to keep them going, and I really hope that you guys continue to watch them and continue to enjoy them. So thank you very much. Peace.